Welcome to our very first deep dive. We're so glad you could join us. We actually launched this show to help families make better, more informed decisions when it comes to planning a funeral.
Exactly. It's about navigating all those choices
Right.
for printed materials, for the service itself, and just sharing knowledge about, everything to do with memorials and saying goodbye.
And today we're tackling a topic that sits right at that intersection of, well, critical logistics and really intense emotion, navigating the decisions around a modern memorial service.
Mhm.
Our mission is clear. We want to give you, our listener, a thorough but quick understanding of the current landscape. We're talking printed programs, keepsakes, and even these new digital tributes.
It's all about extracting the knowledge that families need to, maximize the personalization while keeping the stress as low as humanly possible during an already difficult time.
It's a high-stakes deep dive for sure.
It really is. And providing clarity is it's paramount. When families are facing that acute grief, all the administrative stuff, the design tasks, it can all feel so overwhelming.
Yeah, completely. So our analysis today is specifically designed to offer some structured solutions to help transform the process of creating a program from like a technical burden into a more therapeutic act of remembrance.
And to ground our discussion, we've pulled extensive sources from what is, it's essentially the industry gold standard in this field, the funeral program site.
And that's a really important point. This is not some fly-by-night operation we're talking about.
No, we're analyzing the accumulated wisdom of a resource that has been a trusted leader for over 30 years. That's 3 decades.
30 years, that's got to count for something, right?
It has to. They provide everything from, DIY templates to these comprehensive, professionally printed memorial packages.
That 3-decade history is crucial context, I think. It tells us they haven't just adapted to change, they've often defined it. They've seen the memorial program evolve from, a simple single sheet of paper.
Right, just an obituary. To the highly customized, multi-format tributes we see today. Things that encompass physical prints, high-end booklets, and now digital delivery. Their specialization signifies deep expertise in quality, design, and most importantly, meeting impossible deadlines.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Before we explore I think it's 5 ways to create one,
5.
let's establish the fundamental purpose of a funeral program. Our sources define 2 main roles that are, well, they're equally vital. One is very practical, and the other is deeply emotional.
The first role is what we'd call the practical guide. This is really the organizational backbone of the service.
Well, what's happening next part?
Exactly. It provides structure and clarity for everyone there, the guests, the officiant, any musicians. It ensures a seamless experience by detailing the precise order of service, which hymns are being sung, which prayers are offered,
Who's giving the eulogy?
right? What readings are included, and the names of those delivering eulogies. It answers that question, what happens next, so that attendees can actually focus on the persons they're there to remember, not the logistics.
And that guidance function is so important, especially for guests who might not be familiar with the faith or the cultural practices of the service. But that second role, the emotional anchor, that feels, to me, far more profound in the long term.
It is, precisely. The program has to move beyond being just a schedule. It needs to function as a tangible, personalized memento. It's an artifact.
An artifact, I like that.
It captures the essence, the personality, and the key accomplishments of the person, providing comfort not just during the service, but, for months and years afterward.
I want to spend a moment on that anchor concept because it really speaks to the psychology of grief. In the immediate aftermath of a loss, memories can be so scattered and chaotic.
It really can.
And holding a physical object, that program, it serves as proof of the day. It grounds those fragmented memories. Why is that tangibility so essential months later when, the initial shock has passed?
Well, it serves a few different functions in our cognitive processing. First, it validates the grief. Seeing the photo, reading the curated life story, and just knowing that this public ceremony happened, it helps confirm the reality of the loss.
It makes it real.
It does. And second, it offers a fixed point of reference. When your emotional memory is unreliable, which it often is in grief, the physical keepsake offers a stable, structured narrative of that day and the life that was celebrated. It helps transition mourning from an abstract feeling into a concrete history.
That makes perfect sense. It's a tool for historical grounding. But here's the critical pivot, the question I think every family asks when they are just completely overwhelmed, is creating this object actually necessary?
And the consensus, unequivocally, is no.
Really?
Absolutely. The sources confirm that a service can be perfectly meaningful and respectful without a printed program. No family should ever feel obligated to add to their burden.
I think that's just immensely helpful for our listener to hear. The decision, then, should be based on a really simple, sort of self-administered test. Will this program reduce confusion for our guests, or will it create comfort for them without adding immense pressure to us, the planning family?
That's the key. If the deadline means you're sacrificing sleep and sanity, it is a perfectly valid choice to rely on alternatives.
And I imagine that choice is usually informed by how complex the service is going to be.
For sure. Programs are typically most beneficial when a service has a lot of moving parts. A long list of speakers, maybe a blend of religious and secular readings, or guests drawn from really different parts of the person's life.
Like work friends, church friends, family.
Exactly. In those cases, the program acts as an essential translator and context provider. It ensures a cohesive experience for everyone.
But on the other hand, if the gathering is small, the tone is more intimate, and the order of service is pretty straightforward.
Then relying on a skilled officiant to just verbally guide everyone is often the most compassionate, stress-reducing alternative available.
Okay, so if a family does decide a program is right for them, the most immediate challenge is execution. How do we actually make this thing?
Right. And the funeral program site has effectively streamlined this whole process in 5 pretty simple pathways, ensuring there's a solution to fit every level of technical skill, timeline, and of course, budget.
And these 5 options really demonstrate that specialization that comes from, being in the business for 30 years. They recognize that one family might need something immediately downloadable, another needs it professionally printed, and a third might want something entirely digital. And they have a path for each.
Let's start with options 1 and 2, the DIY pathways. These are designed for the listener who wants, full creative control and maybe the most cost-effective solution, even if it takes a little more hands-on effort.
Option 1 is the gold standard for full control, the DIY funeral program template. The mechanism is just an immediate download. This is absolutely critical in time-sensitive planning.
No waiting.
No waiting. You pay, you download the file, and you can start editing within minutes. Printing then happens either at home on your own printer or at a local copy center. Okay, so we know it requires standard software, but for our more technical-minded listeners, what are the precise software requirements? And maybe more importantly, what are the technical pitfalls that DIY users often face that they should try to avoid?
The flexibility is really high. The downloaded template package includes files for Microsoft Word, Microsoft Publisher, Apple Pages, and even Google Docs.
So pretty much everyone is covered.
Right. It ensures cross-platform accessibility. However, the pitfall often lies in the software's ability to handle complex layouts, especially for folds like, say, trifolds or booklets.
Tell me more about those specific DIY pitfalls. If I'm opening a trifold template in Microsoft Word, what should I be ready for?
The primary challenges are managing your margins and photo resolution. Word and Pages, while they're flexible, they're not professional design tools.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. Setting up complex multi-column layouts, particularly making sure the interior margins align perfectly when you fold it, that takes patience. We'd highly recommend using the template's preset margins and just not altering the page size.
Don't try to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. And secondly, for printing at home, families often use low-resolution photos they've pulled from social media. These look fine on a screen, but when they're printed, especially across a half-page spread, they get all pixelated. The minimum resolution for a quality print is usually 300 dots per inch, or DPI.
That is extremely actionable advice. Stick to the template's measurements and prioritize high-resolution photos. The benefits here, though, are huge. Maximum personalization, and it's budget-friendly.
Absolutely. The creative freedom is total. The ability to choose a very specific color palette or a particular font that just resonates with a person's personality, that's unmatched.
Now let's look at option 2, the online editor DIY funeral programs. This feels like the evolution of DIY, designed specifically to bypass those software headaches you just mentioned.
It is the modern, friction-free route. The core mechanism is browser-based editing, so no software download or installation required. You just edit the text and drop photos into preset areas directly on the website.
That immediately lowers the technical barrier to entry. For someone who's intimidated by wrestling with margins and bleed settings in Word, this is a lifesaver.
It completely eliminates the complexity of file setup.
Yeah.
You are guaranteed the text will align correctly because the system manages the output file for you. And the source also highlights a try before you buy option, which removes any purchasing risk.
Oh, that's smart.
It is. You can mock up the entire program, make sure you're happy with the layout and the content, all before you commit financially.
Okay, moving on to options 3 and 4. This is for families who, they have the content ready, but they recognize the emotional cost of dealing with design software and printers is just too high. They need professional relief.
Option 3 is the done-for-you funeral programs. This is the comprehensive, full-service approach. This is where the service provider takes complete ownership of the technical output.
So you just hand it all over.
You do. You submit your text, your photos, and your general vision, and they handle the professional design, the full customization, the premium printing, and secure shipping. And they often include an optional digital delivery, too.
What specific services are included in that full customization that save a family time beyond just, setting the text?
2 elements really stand out. First is comprehensive design layout, ensuring visual hierarchy and aesthetic appeal. Second is professional photo editing,
And that's a huge one.
a massive time saver. They offer services like background removal for the cover photo at no extra charge. So if your best photo of your loved one was taken against a busy or cluttered background,
Which it always is.
right, the designer can seamlessly extract the portrait, giving it a clean, professional finish. The family doesn't have to learn Photoshop during a crisis.
That level of detail is impressive. But let's talk about the big constraint, time. This whole process is so time-bound. If a family needs this done-for-you service and they need it fast, what are the realistic timelines? And critically, what's the cost premium?
That's a necessary question because printing, binding, shipping, it all takes time. This option has inherent logistical constraints. However, many services offer expedited options to accommodate aggressive timelines. Depending on the complexity and what time of day the order is finalized, they can sometimes print and ship within a 24 to 48-hour window.
And the cost implication of that speed, I imagine it's not cheap.
You should definitely expect a premium.
Right.
While standard production might take, say, 3 to 5 business days, cutting that down to 24 hours often involves rush fees for both the printing and for high-speed overnight shipping, like FedEx or UPS Priority.
Right.
So families should budget for a pretty significant increase in the shipping component if they need that guaranteed delivery within 48 hours. The trade-off is stress reduction versus financial cost.
Then we have option 4, which feels like an elegant middle ground, the template editing services.
This is the perfect compromise for families who know exactly what they want but just don't have the software skill. They choose a template they love, they submit all the raw text and images, and a professional designer steps in to manage the technical execution.
So they do the layout, the formatting.
Exactly. The layout, formatting, font consistency, and preparing a print-ready file. The family maintains the creative vision, but they outsource the difficult labor of technical formatting.
And finally, option 5. The solution built for remote attendees, environmental consciousness, and pure speed. The digital funeral program.
This really represents the largest shift in memorial planning. It's a paperless way to share all the service details, and its core advantage is instantaneous accessibility. It can be viewed perfectly on any modern device, a phone, a tablet, a computer.
I find the sharing mechanism genuinely innovative. How does this bridge between the physical service and the remote guest work in a practical sense?
It works instantly by a link or a QR code. So imagine a physical service. A small sign is placed at the entrance with a QR code. Guests just scan it with their phone's camera, and the program instantly appears on their screen.
Wow.
And for remote attendees, the link is just sent via email or text, providing immediate access. This instantly solves the problem of printing enough copies or having to mail programs to distant relatives.
What are the unique benefits of going fully digital beyond just the convenience?
Well, first is reach and cost savings. It completely eliminates printing and shipping, which is a significant cost reduction, and of course, it's environmentally friendly. Second is the potential for interactive elements.
What do you mean by interactive?
Well, unlike a static piece of paper, a digital program can embed live, clickable links to, say, a video tribute or a dedicated donation page for the person's favorite charity, or even an online guest book where remote attendees can leave messages instantly.
That dynamic aspect is really compelling, but does opting for digital mean you sacrifice the formal structure we associate with a traditional program?
Not at all. The underlying design still matters. Digital programs are generally formatted as highly structured, high-quality PDFs, or even simple web pages that really mimic the appearance of traditional printed programs.
So they can still look like a bifold or a booklet.
Absolutely. Complete with the bifold, trifold, or booklet presentation. This ensures a familiar navigation while leveraging these modern delivery methods. The choice really just hinges on whether the family prioritizes that physical keepsake or the instant global reach.
When we talk about these materials, we have to move past the idea of just a generic single-fold card. The funeral program site emphasizes this whole spectrum of printed tributes, and the choice of format is actually a strategic decision, isn't it? It's based on how much you have to say.
That's absolutely right. The evolution of memorial stationery means families can tailor the program structure itself. While all the templates let you customize text, photos, and colors, the physical fold actually dictates the narrative flow.
Let's detail some of these specific styles and folds, and maybe focus on why a family would choose one over another.
Okay, so the bifold program, a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet folded in half, that's the classic choice. It's simple, it's economical, and it gives you 4 sections. That's usually enough space for a cover photo, the order of service, and a short obituary. It's the go-to when brevity is preferred.
But if you have more to share,
Right. If the family has a more detailed life story or a really complex service itinerary, they often move to the trifold program. That gives you 6 panels on a larger sheet, like an 8.5 by 14.
and then we get into what you might call the premium formats. These seem designed to almost control the pacing of the story. Things like gatefold programs, graduated funeral programs, and funeral booklets.
Exactly. The gatefold program is chosen for dramatic effect. The front panels open up like large doors, revealing the main content inside, often a large central photo or the opening paragraph of the life story. It creates this sense of unveiling, which feels very high-end and intentional.
And the graduated funeral program, I need a clearer definition of that beyond just staggered pages. What is its narrative function?
The graduated program is highly sophisticated. It's a series of pages or inserts, each one slightly shorter than the last, creating this stepped or layered look from the side. You choose this when you want to sequentially unveil information.
So it's like a story in chapters.
It is. For example, the smallest top page might show the order of service, the next page down reveals the obituary, and the largest back page holds the acknowledgments. This structured progression helps guests absorb detailed information in manageable chunks. It gives a real sense of an unfolding narrative.
That really clarifies the design strategy. It's about managing the flow of information. And for the most comprehensive tribute, you have the magazine-style funeral program. That sounds like the ultimate keepsake.
It is. This is a multi-page memorial booklet. It's ideal when a family wants to include multiple photo collages, a full biography, specific anecdotes from friends, extensive acknowledgments. It moves beyond just a program and becomes a tangible, archive-quality book of remembrance.
And we also see custom sizes, right? From small mementos to large format layouts.
Oh yeah, from compact 5.5 by 8.5 mementos to large 11 by 17 sheets for, say, comprehensive family trees or big photo collages.
And for that final, truly professional touch, we have to talk about the printing finish. Edge-to-edge or full bleed printing. Why is that detail so important for a polished look?
Full bleed means the ink extends right to the physical edge of the paper with no unsightly white borders. It requires specialized printing as the image is printed slightly larger than the finished size and then trimmed down.
I see.
And this detail is essential because it visually elevates the program from a home-printed handout to a professional, high-quality publication. It makes the colors more vibrant and the design truly seamless.
Those finishing details really do transform a functional handout into a cherished keepsake. And this ecosystem of remembrance, it extends far beyond just the program itself into all this coordinated stationery.
Indeed. The goal is design consistency across all the touch points. The core printed accessories, often designed to match the program's theme, include things like memorial cards and funeral prayer cards.
Small, portable affirmations.
Right. And then you have memorial bookmarks, which are very popular because they're highly practical and they get integrated into daily life. You actually use them.
And completing that printed suite, you have to think about post-service correspondence. Funeral thank you cards and funeral postcard announcements are essential for closing the loop with guests and everyone who sent condolences.
And for the DIY users who use option 1, the availability of curated design tools is just crucial. The funeral program site offers resources like professionally designed, elegant frames and borders, funeral clip art, titles, poems, verses, and quotes.
Which saves so much time.
Immense time and stress. It ensures families don't run into copyright issues or spend precious hours searching for appropriate, tasteful imagery and text.
Let's shift our focus to the broader memorial product range. We should look at these items not as just a catalog, but as tools for emotional support and ongoing remembrance.
Let's categorize them by function, starting with service keepsakes. These are items that support the physical event itself.
Like funeral guest books.
Right, a tangible record of who was there. Memorial candles, which symbolize light and remembrance. Then you have memorial button pins, portraits, posters, and banners, and even memorial hand fans, which are a practical necessity for hot or outdoor services.
I also noticed they offer items related to the final resting place, like cremation urns, urn nameplates, or even highly specific casket panels.
This holistic offering just underscores their role as a comprehensive memorial resource. Another unique service item is the awareness ribbons. They're offered in various designs and are often color-coded for specific cancer types or causes.
So it connects the service to a greater purpose.
It does. It allows the family to integrate a statement of support or a commitment to future research or charity.
I'm particularly fascinated by the items designed for what they call the living memorial concept, which connects remembrance to continuity and growth.
This is a really powerful trend. These outdoor memorials ensure that remembrance is woven into the home and garden. We're talking about memorial garden flags, wind chimes, memorial lanterns, garden stones, and garden stakes.
But the most compelling example has to be the plantable memorials.
I agree. These are small seed packets of the person's favorite flower, or maybe a wildflower mix, that are given to guests to plant. This transforms that static memory into a growing cyclical symbol of life.
That actively combats the finality of death by integrating the loved one's memory into the natural rhythm of life. And finally, the sympathy gifts collection. How should we view items like memorial pillows and memory blankets?
These are what I'd call tactile comfort objects. They're not merely gifts. They are intended to integrate remembrance into daily routine and provide physical comfort for the immediate family.
So it's more than just a pillow with a picture on it.
Oh, much more. A memorial pillow or a memory blanket allows the bereaved to physically hold or rest with a tangible textile object linked to their loved one, often bearing their photo or a comforting quote. This integration of memory into the home environment is a crucial part of the long-term grieving process. It ensures the act of remembering is constant yet gentle.
This is a key transition. We've moved from the logistics of printing to the deep emotional purpose of the material. Ultimately, a funeral program's success isn't defined by its fold count, but by its ability to tell the true story of a unique life.
That is the ultimate goal. Customization is the engine that transforms an itinerary into a heartfelt narrative. Beyond the essentials, the name, the dates, the order of service, the photos, the program has to act as a kind of psychological mirror. And this requires a well-written obituary or life story, carefully chosen quotes or poems, and specific acknowledgments that really reflect the individual.
Let's deepen the analysis of the anecdotes we found in the sources, because they perfectly illustrate how specific, non-traditional details can capture a unique legacy.
Okay, let's go back to the story of Jack. Jack was a retired school teacher, an avid, passionate gardener, and a volunteer firefighter. 3 seemingly unrelated identities.
Right, from completely different worlds.
And the family chose a 4-page booklet format. Inside, they included a short biography they titled The 3 Lives of Jack, and it wove together narratives from his disparate circles.
Why is that design choice so critically important, not just for the family, but for all the attendees?
It solves a massive social problem at a time of grief. Community unification. Jack's teaching colleagues likely never knew about his volunteer firefighting life.
And the fire crew probably didn't know about his prize-winning roses.
Exactly. The program actively connected these dots. It ensured that every guest left with a holistic view of the person, unifying these disparate groups of mourners into a single, cohesive community that understood the full breadth of Jack's contributions. The family didn't have to explain. The program did the work for them.
That's profound. It allows the family to focus their emotional energy on grieving, rather than on making social introductions and giving contextual explanations over and over.
It does. And the other examples focus on honoring the doing and the essence of the person.
Like the grandmother who loved baking.
Exactly. Instead of just listing her accomplishments, the family included her famous apple pie recipe on the back cover.
I love that idea, but I want to challenge it just a little. Does including an active element like a recipe, or maybe a link to a playlist, risk distracting from the service itself? Or does it actually deepen the tribute?
That's a thoughtful question. I think in this context, it deepens the tribute because it shifts the act of remembrance from passive reflection to active multisensory engagement. The service is for the formal mourning. The program is for the ongoing memory.
I see.
So when a family later bakes that apple pie, the scent, the taste, the act of cooking, it actively recalls the memory of the grandmother. It's a sensory touch point that traditional text just can't replicate. It keeps her memory alive in the kitchen, which is where her essence really resided.
That frame clarifies it completely. It's about memorializing the actions that define their love, not just the dates.
Precisely. And similarly, the family who included Dad's Groaners, a short collection of the deceased's terrible signature jokes. It was a conscious choice to honor his specific brand of humor, ensuring the service wasn't exclusively somber. It provided a moment of authentic, bittersweet levity, honoring the full range of his personality.
This deep commitment to reflecting unique lives is why the vast array of thematic collections available from the source material is so crucial. They provide a culturally and aesthetically appropriate starting point, saving the family from, design purgatory.
These themes serve as pre-vetted design philosophies. Take, for example, the Homegoing Celebration Funeral Program collection. This isn't just a change in the color scheme. It's rooted deeply in African American traditions. It focuses specifically on joy, spiritual peace, and the transition into eternal rest.
So the tone of the design itself is intrinsically positive and uplifting, reflecting a specific cultural viewpoint on death.
Exactly. It typically integrates specific elements like prayers, scriptures, and traditional gospel hymns, ensuring the program immediately communicates cultural alignment and reverence. This recognition of diverse needs means the family isn't fighting some default one-size-fits-all template. They start from a place of respect.
And beyond cultural collections, there are themes for pretty much every defining interest. The Patriotic Collection for military service members, featuring flags and specific honors. The Sports Collection, covering specialized interests from golf to basketball, allowing that part of their life to be celebrated visually.
And for those whose passion was the natural world, we see the Florals Collection, the Outdoor Collection, and the Waterscape Collection. The imagery there, serene streams, lush forests, calm oceans, it's all intentionally designed to evoke peace and continuity, reflecting the person's connection to nature.
And even for those who prefer restraint, the Simple Collection offers a minimalist, clean, straightforward design. It proves that personalization doesn't have to mean ornamentation. It can mean perfect, elegant simplicity.
The ability to select a framework that already embodies the right emotional tone. That's the critical time saver. It allows the family to focus 90% of their effort on curating the unique personal content, knowing the design framework is already solid and respectful.
Let's shift back to the practical reality of execution. For the listener considering a professional, full-service option, understanding the printing and delivery logistics is paramount, especially under these tight deadlines.
We need to review those three paths again, but this time focusing on the trade-offs. You can print at home, most budget-friendly, but there's a quality risk. You can take the file to a local copy center, higher quality, but it's dependent on the store staff's expertise. Or you can use professional printing services, highest quality, highest cost, but it guarantees the technical execution.
Regarding those professional services, we talked about the possibility of a 24 to 48-hour turnaround. What should our listeners know about the operational reality of guaranteeing same-day shipping?
Same-day shipping requires a complete, final, and approved digital file submitted early in the business day, often before 10 a.m., and it depends entirely on the product. Simple, standard bifold programs are often eligible.
But not the more complex stuff.
Right. Complex items like multi-page, saddle-stitched booklets require more production time and may not be eligible for same-day dispatch. Families have to confirm the production cutoff times for each specific product on the site before they order.
Okay, let's talk numbers. We know the estimated cost for 100 standard full-service funeral programs ranges from about $90 to $300. That's a pretty wide range. What factors dictate where a family lands on that spectrum?
That range is determined by three key variables. First is paper stock.
Yeah.
The low end is a standard 60 or 70-pound paper. The high end is premium, heavy 100-pound cardstock with a matte or glossy finish, which significantly increases the cost. Second is fold complexity. A simple bifold is cheaper than a specialized gatefold or multi-page booklet, which requires complex collating and binding. And third, color versus black and white. Full color printing, especially with full bleed, is inherently more expensive.
So a family choosing high-end paper, full color, and a magazine-style booklet should expect to be at that $300 end of the spectrum.
That's a safe assumption, yes.
Clear budget expectations are crucial. Once the beautiful, high-quality programs are printed and delivered, we move to the service itself. Who handles the physical distribution? This seemingly small detail can significantly impact the welcoming atmosphere.
This role, the program distributor, is really the welcoming face of the ceremony. Programs are typically handed out by ushers, greeters, or trusted family members and friends. The funeral director and their team often manage this for larger, more formal services.
I appreciate the nuance of involving family or even younger relatives, giving them an active, respectful task greeting guests, handing out this meaningful document, can be a really important coping mechanism for processing grief.
It gives them a sense of agency and contribution during a period where they might feel powerless. But whether it's a formal usher or a family member, the objective is always consistency and organization. Every attendee should receive the program seamlessly as they enter, so they feel immediately welcomed and oriented.
Now let's pivot back to that core concept, stress reduction. We've offered 5 great ways to create a program, but what if, even with all these tools, the emotional capacity just isn't there? What if a program just isn't the right fit? We have to reiterate that no one should feel pressured.
Absolutely not. The focus must always be on meaning. And there are incredibly powerful, meaningful alternatives that eliminate the printing and logistical stress entirely.
One of the most beautiful alternatives is the memory card table. So instead of the family printing their tribute, the guests are invited to write down a favorite memory, a short story, or a specific way the deceased impacted their life.
This is such a powerful psychological shift. It transforms the day from a passive obligation, receiving a piece of paper, into an active gift back to the family. They walk away not just with memories, but with a collection of new stories, new perspectives, and affirmations. A collection that will continue to offer healing long after the service is over.
Another touching idea, especially if the deceased loved nature, is the living memorial keepsake.
Yes, providing small seed packets of the person's favorite flower, maybe with a simple sticker with their photo and dates. It connects the remembrance to the future, to life, and to new growth. It provides a sense of continuity that paper just can't match.
And for purely practical guidance, if the main goal is simply to structure the flow of the service, what about a straightforward visual solution?
A visual guidance solution works perfectly. This could be a large, professionally designed sign, a poster or banner placed at the entrance that details the order of events, names of readers, and maybe a large portrait. It ensures clarity without the printing pressure of hundreds of individual copies.
You'd have to make sure it's readable, though.
Absolutely. Use large, legible fonts and maintain a high visual contrast.
And finally, for a truly intimate service, the reliance on verbal guidance is always the simplest path.
A skilled officiant or funeral director, speaking warmly and clearly, can seamlessly guide attendees through every reading and musical selection. For many services, especially smaller ones, that personalized, immediate guidance is far more comforting than staring at a sheet of paper.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, let's just reiterate the critical findings here. The decision to use a funeral program, it has to be weighed against the stress it might create.
Right. Programs offer undeniable value as both a structured guide and a psychological keepsake, but they're absolutely not a mandatory requirement for a meaningful service.
And what stands out to me is the immense flexibility available today. Modern options accommodate every need from the variety of printed formats like the narrative flow of the graduated program or the drama of the gatefold,
To the speed and reach of paperless digital programs, shared instantly with QR codes and links. The funeral program site has clearly established a framework that allows families to find the format that best supports their timeline and their emotional needs, whether it's DIY, technically supported, or a full-service package.
The quality of the remembrance is never about printing complexity. It's defined solely by how authentically the tribute captures the life being honored.
That's the bottom line.
And that leads us to our final thought for you, the learner. Something to mull over that really builds on the power of Jack's story and the grandmother's recipe. Our deep dive revealed that personalization is what truly transforms an administrative document into a profound psychological anchor. So, if you were designing a memorial today, what non-traditional detail, what sensory, active, or behavioral cue would you include? Think beyond the dates in the formal biography. What favorite quirky recipe? What link to a curated playlist of their life soundtrack? Or what section of ridiculous beloved jokes would you include to ensure the program honors the doing and the essence of the person, cementing their unique legacy for generations?
Focusing on those actions, those sensory memories, that's what fosters active remembrance and what truly lasts.
A wonderful, evocative note to end on. Thank you so much for joining us for this extensive discussion on better decision-making regarding funeral materials and knowledge.
We hope this provided you with the clarity and comprehensive understanding needed during what is invariably a challenging time. And we highly recommend the Funeral Program site as a trusted resource for high-quality, customizable materials.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.